Deep inside your cells, there is a ghost, a genetic echo left behind by warriors, travelers, and settlers from 1,000 years ago. For 3 centuries, the Norsemen didn't just raid. They settled, they married, and they left a code in the blood of millions of people alive today. You might have wondered if you are one of them. Sign number 1 is often called the Viking disease. Modern doctors call it Dupuytren's contracture. It is a condition where the tissue under your palm thickens, eventually pulling your ring and pinky fingers permanently inward. It is overwhelmingly found in Northern Europeans. If your grandfather's hand looks like this, he might be sharing a trait with the men who gripped the shield walls. Sign number 2 is hidden in your gut. Can you drink this? Most of the human population cannot process milk as adults, but in the frozen north, a specific mutation spread rapidly. It allowed Vikings to survive harsh winters on dairy when crops failed. If you can drink a glass of milk today without getting sick, you are likely carrying the lactase persistence mutation, but physical traits are just clues. The proof is in the code. If you have taken a DNA test, look for this specific marker, haplogroup 11. This is the father line. It is found in 35% of Norwegian men today, but it also lights up in the specific parts of England, Scotland, and Normandy, where the Vikings settled. Finally, check your name. The Vikings didn't use family names. They used patronymics. Son of John became Johnson. Son of Thor became Thorson. And look at your town. If you live in a place ending in by, like Derby or Whitby, you are living in a town literally named by a Viking settler. We are not just studying history, we are carrying it. The Vikings didn't disappear, they just became us. Stop scrolling and look at your eyes. If they are blue, you are a mutant, literally. Science has confirmed that originally, all humans had brown eyes. But 10,000 years ago, a single glitch in the OCA2 gene flipped a switch. Every single blue-eyed person on Earth descends from one single ancestor who lived near the Black Sea. You are all family. But why did this mutation survive? Because it traveled north. As the ice sheets retreated, these early carriers moved into Scandinavia. In the dark, frozen winters where the sun doesn't rise for months, light skin and light eyes absorbed vitamin D better. It wasn't just a color, it was a survival weapon. Nature selected it, and the Vikings perfected it. By the Viking Age, this trait was dominant. The Norse sagas describe heroes with eyes like the sea, or eyes like ice. But there is a specific sign to look for. It is called the limbal ring. Look closely at your iris. Do you have a dark, distinct ring around the outer edge of the blue? This is the hunter's eye. Do you have the ring? If you have these eyes, you are carrying a 10,000-year-old ghost. The Northmen never left. They just hid in your blood. Blue, gray, or green? Let us know below. Look at your hand and make a fist. Do you feel a sharp squeezing pain right here in these 2 knuckles? Doctors call this the iron salute. It's a specific pain that mimics arthritis, But it's not arthritis. It's a genetic echo, a survival mechanism left behind by your ancestors that is now slowly poisoning you. This is sign number 4, the Viking curse. And if you have it, your body is literally rusting from the inside out. It is the number 1 most common genetic disorder in the Western world, specifically in people of Celtic and Viking descent. Before I explain why this killed your ancestors, I need to know. Squeeze your hand right now. Do you have the iron fist pain? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. If you answered yes, you carry the blood of the North. You are walking history. And if you want to wear that heritage with pride, the official Viking DNA collection is finally here. This design features the Est 800 AD skull. It's for the warriors. Grab yours at the link in the description and pinned comment. Make sure to use code EARLYBIRD for 10% off. So why does this gene exist? Evolution doesn't make mistakes. 1,000 years ago, this wasn't a curse. It was a superpower. In the Iron Age, the Viking diet was poor. No red meat, just grain and gruel. Most people died of anemia, lack of iron. But not you. Your ancestors developed a mutation that turned their bodies into iron magnets. They absorbed every single scrap of iron from their food. It kept them alive. It made them stronger. But today, we don't starve. We eat burgers, steaks, and fortified cereal. Your superpower never turns off. You are absorbing too much. The excess iron stores in your joints, your liver, your heart. It's called hemochromatosis. The only cure? You have to bleed. Doctors prescribe phlebotomy, blood donation. Ironically, to survive, the modern Viking must shed their own blood, just like the old days. If your knuckles hurt, see a doctor. But if you want to know for sure, don't just guess. Test your DNA. I have linked the best DNA kits in the description below. We need to check your mouth for a specific genetic marker. Open wide and lift your tongue. Run your finger or tongue along the floor of your mouth, beneath your bottom teeth. Feel the gum line carefully. Do you feel smooth, flat bone? Or do you feel hard, bony lumps jutting out? Maybe even a solid ridge of bone. If you feel those lumps, don't panic. It's not a tumor. You have a condition called torus mandibularis. It is a benign bone growth. But while your dentist might just call it extra bone, history calls it something else. This lump is a genetic echo, a potential signature left behind by your northern ancestors. We find this trait in over 50% of ancient Viking Age skulls. In Greenland Norse populations, it was nearly 90%. It wasn't random. It was survival. It was caused by something called masticatory hyperstress. The Viking diet wasn't soft bread and oatmeal. It was tough, fibrous, and frozen. Their main staple was stockfish, cod dried in the freezing wind until it was as hard as tree bark. To eat it, you had to beat it with a hammer and chew it for hours. It was like chewing leather. This extreme pressure forced their jawbones to thicken and grow these reinforcements just to keep their teeth from shattering. But the lump wasn't the only modification. While the lump was natural, some Vikings took matters into their own hands. Archaeologists on Gotland have found skulls with horizontal lines filed directly into the front teeth. They likely filled these grooves with red pigment or even fat mixed with charcoal. Imagine a Viking warrior screaming at you in battle, his teeth striped with red blood. It was psychological warfare. So while the filed teeth were a choice, the lump is involuntary, a ghost of the past living in your mouth. Now I want to see how common this really is. If you have the so-called Viking lump, head over to our YouTube community tab. I will start a post where you can share photos of this if you wish, and compare with others. And if you're curious whether your genetics actually trace back to the Norse, check the pinned comment or description. I've linked the DNA test that's best for detecting Scandinavian ancestry. Most Vikings were simple farmers. Some were raiders, but a tiny fraction of them were kings. There is a specific genetic marker traces back to one man, Rollo the Walker. He didn't just raid, he stayed. He founded the royal house of Normandy, and his DNA conquered Europe. His great-grandson was William the Conqueror. If you have British ancestry, this royal DNA is likely hiding in your veins. This is the king's marker. It isn't a disease. It's a legacy. They called him the Walker because he was so physically massive that no horse could carry him. He was a giant among men, and in the year 911, he forced the King of France to give him land. This was the moment the Viking gene entered the royal bloodline. It didn't stay in France. In 1066, his descendants launched the largest invasion in history. They replaced the English aristocracy overnight. If you are related to the British elite or have ancestry from the Isles, you are likely carrying Rollo's genetic signature. So how do you test for it? You are looking for haplogroup 1M253, specifically the Normans. Check your last name: Sinclair, Rollo, Osborne, Grosvenor. These aren't English names, they're Norman. But names change, DNA does not. This marker often comes with physical traits passed down for 1,000 years. Extraordinary height, broad mesomorphic build, and a natural predisposition for leadership. This brings us to the dark side of the king's marker, the conqueror's temper. Rollo was known for his explosive rage. This high testosterone drive is what built empires. Today, carriers of this gene are often found in high-risk jobs: CEOs, special forces, athletes. It is a biological need to conquer. And if you have no war to fight, that energy turns inward. Restlessness, insomnia, and inability to sit still. Does this sound like you? You might not be just stressed. You might be operating on ancient hardware, meant for a battlefield.
If you recognized any of these signs on yourself, the finger, the eye, the curse, the lump, the mark, then you already have the first piece of the puzzle. But physical signs alone cannot give you a definitive answer. The only way to know for certain whether you have genuine Viking ancestry is through your DNA, your haplogroup, your Scandinavian percentage, your Neanderthal variant count. I have made a complete guide on this channel that walks you through the entire process, the science, the testing, exactly what to look for in your results. The 2 DNA kits I recommend are linked in the description below. Ancestry DNA first, for most people. 23andMe second for haplogroups and your Neanderthal count. The answers have always been there, sitting in your DNA. Now you know how to find them.